So make sure you always tell them if anything has changed or sounds different or smells differently. Excuse me. When he comes down, he's going to check your thermostat, and he's going to come to your furnace or your outdoor unit, your heat pump air conditioner, and he's going to check, some of the most basic things. The first thing he's going to start off with is checking all the electrical, make sure the wires are tight, back to the breaker panel and the switch that's on the side of the furnace. He's going to just do an overall observation of what's going on with the system, make sure there's no leaks in the vent pipes and the drains for the humidifier or the condensate, just an overall assessment of how's the system doing. He's going to go ahead and pop off the front panel to the equipment. And inside here, he's going to be checking, the overall cleanliness, the condition of the rubber hoses, the condition of the motors, the wire connections, making sure nothing's rubbing up against anything sharp where it could get a short circuit or something of that nature. After that, he's going to get really in-depth into it. He's going to pull the panels off, take them out of the way. In this case here, there's a blower compartment, a big blower motor. He'd slide that out of the way. A lot of guys will actually crawl inside your furnace to look up inside to look at the heat exchanger to make sure there's no cracks or popped rivets, things of that nature. They may also take off the top panel and look down. Some guys will have a bore scope, just a little camera on the end of a flexible wand that they can stick inside. The whole goal is to really inspect that heat exchanger to make sure there's no cracks in it. A cracked heat exchanger will actually allow carbon monoxide to get into the house, and that is the silent killer. I will put a little plug in here that if you don't have a carbon monoxide detector, I really suggest you get one. I recommend spending the money on one because this is your life that we're talking about. We don't want you to go out and buy Joe Bob's, home CO detector. We want you to buy a good name brand, a Carrier brand, a Honeywell, something that is a name brand that has quality and has some good standards behind its production. Carbon monoxide detectors normally last for about 5 to 7 years, so you can expect to replace it within that time frame. But once again, it is your life that we're talking about here, and it is worth the investment. So after the technician goes through and he checks the heat exchanger and he's verified that there's no cracks in it or any issues with it, he's going to go ahead and check the bearings of both the blower motor, the draft motor. He'll check the burners. He'll go ahead and put his special tools on to measure the gas pressure that's coming in. Your furnace burns at a certain amount of pressure. If there's too much pressure, it's going to overheat or to cause undue stress on the heat exchanger. If there's too little gas pressure, it can actually start sooting up and also cause issues with the heat exchanger. So he's going to make sure that's dialed in. Every manufacturer has a different gas pressure setting, so he's going to make sure it's at the optimum pressure setting for your furnace. After that, he's going to go ahead and make sure everything's nice and clean. He'll clean out any of the drains. He'll check all the wires, make sure they're nice and tight. He'll go ahead and put the furnace back together, and then he'll go ahead and fire it off and start testing it from there. He's going to ensure that the motors are running the proper direction. He's going to ensure that the bearings are fine. He's going to ensure that they're pulling the right amount of power. How much power a motor consumes is directly related to how efficient it is as well as its life. If it starts pulling more power than what it's rated for, that's basically saying that it's coming towards the end of the life. He can make that recommendation then to you, say, hey, you might want to think about changing this motor out or this whole piece of equipment if it's too old, based on we don't want it to break down on you, come that middle of the winter at 2 o'clock in the morning. So that's one of the things he's going to check for. After he gets that all checked out, he's going to measure how warm the air is going through the furnace. Every furnace, like I said before, they always revolve around how much air is moving through them. So there's a certain range that temperature has to be when the air goes through that furnace. So he's going to measure that to make sure, is it running the way it's supposed to? Once he's checked all that out, he's going to go ahead and test the rest of the safety controls on the system. Make sure that the limit switches are operating the way they're supposed to. The ignition source for the gas is within range. He'll make sure no safeties are bypassed. And basically give an overall assessment of the condition of the furnace and everything going on. When he's all said and done, you really expect him to fill out a completely detailed report of what he did. He's going to put in there that it is he checked this, 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 and this. He's not going to say, I checked your furnace out, have a nice day. You really want that detailed list of what did he do so that you know that this got checked. If he has any recommendations for you, that's the time that he's going to tell you, say you need to start looking at replacing this motor, or hey, maybe you should go ahead and start thinking about replacing the system. This here is one of Carrier's most efficient systems out on the market. If you get into a house that's got a really old system, say like a 60 or 70%, you know, it's really starting to be time to think about replacing that. For the amount of money that you'll save on your gas, could be phenomenal. To mean a couple years payback from what you pay into a new system to what you would have saved in your gas bills. It's really huge. A lot of the guys aren't going to be pushy, but they do just want to let you know that you can save quite a bit of money. In some cases, you know, cut your gas bill in half, or if not more. So once again, if you have any questions about your system, please feel free to contact your local Carrier dealer, or you can go ahead and contact us at carriercomfortteam.com. Thanks and have a great day.